All right, so let's dive into this summer
Mm-hmm.
that changed America's beaches forever.
Okay.
It's 1916,
Right?
a time when folks thought sharks were just these mysterious creatures of the deep.
Yeah.
Little did they know that summer would rewrite the script,
Yeah.
turning a beloved vacation spot into a scene straight out of a nightmare.
Wow.
We're talking about the 1916 New Jersey shark attacks
Okay.
and how a string of terrifying encounters forever shaped our relationship with these
Ugh.
powerful predators.
What's captivating about this story is the rapid shift in public perception.
Yeah.
We'll see how sharks went from being viewed as almost mythical beings
Right.
to the ultimate symbols of terror in a matter of weeks.
Yeah.
The media coverage,
Right.
genuine fear, and of course the tragedies themselves.
Of course.
It all had a profound impact that continues to resonate even today.
Okay, so picture this.
Okay.
It's the early 1900s,
Right.
a time when a day at the beach meant pure relaxation. Scientists were convinced that sharks wouldn't bother humans.
Mhm.
They were creatures of the deep,
Right.
not something you'd worry about while taking a dip in the ocean.
Precisely.
Comment.
Back then, the idea of a shark attack was almost inconceivable.
Really?
They were seen as fascinating but harmless,
Okay.
relegated to the depths of the ocean.
Right.
Not something you'd find lurking in the shallows, let alone swimming up a creek.
And that's where our story takes a dark turn.
Oh.
We start on July 1st, 1916, in Beach Haven, New Jersey.
Okay.
It's a picture-perfect summer day.
Mm-hmm.
Families enjoying the sun and surf.
Right.
A young man, Charles Van Zandt,
Okay.
decides to go for a swim.
Yeah.
It seems like the most ordinary thing in the world.
But what starts as a carefree swim quickly turns horrific. We have eyewitness accounts that paint a chilling scene.
Yeah.
The water suddenly turning crimson.
Wow.
The desperate struggle as the shark clamps onto Charles's leg,
Oh my goodness.
even scraping its belly on the sand as it tries to drag him under. Oh, wow.
Can you imagine the terror of those watching from the shore,
Gosh.
including his own family?
That's awful.
Yeah.
It's a scene that chills you to the bone even a century later.
Yeah.
And what's even more unsettling is that this wasn't just a quick bite.
Right.
This was a prolonged, brutal attack.
Mm-hmm.
Yet despite the horror of the event,
Mm-hmm.
the national media response was surprisingly subdued.
Really?
The New York Times, for instance, barely mentioned it,
Hmm.
even referring to the attacker as just a fish.
Yes. It seems like there was a conscious effort to downplay the incident,
Yeah.
perhaps to protect the booming tourism industry,
Right.
but that approach became impossible to maintain just 5 days later
Oh, wow.
when Charles Bruder, a strong swimmer,
Okay.
who even dismissed warnings about sharks,
Right.
became the second victim.
This attack was even more gruesome than the first, and it grabbed the nation's attention.
Yeah.
Suddenly, sharks weren't just a distant curiosity.
They were front-page news, the subject of widespread panic.
And the media coverage understandably shifted dramatically.
Oh, really?
We start to see sensationalized headlines,
Yeah.
talk of man-eaters and shark infestations.
Uh,
The public's perception was being molded by the narrative that was being spun.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mhm.
And that narrative takes an even more terrifying turn
Oh.
as we move from the bustling beaches of the Jersey Shore to the quiet town of Matawan Creek.
Okay.
This is a place where no one would have ever expected to encounter a shark.
Right.
But on July 12th, that's exactly what
Oh,
happened,
goodness.
turning a sleepy town into a scene of unimaginable horror.
The attacks in Matawan Creek were particularly harrowing.
Yeah.
We have the tragic case of young Lester Stillwell
Yeah.
attacked while swimming with friends. Then there's the heroic but sadly futile attempt by Stanley Fisher to save him,
Oh.
leading to his own death.
That's terrible.
And we can't forget Joseph Dunn, a 12-year-old boy who, thank goodness, survived the attack but suffered severe injuries.
Oh my gosh.
These incidents happening not in the vast open ocean, but in a narrow creek,
Yeah.
intensified the public's fear and disbelief.
It really makes you wonder what could have led to this sudden and seemingly impossible intrusion into a place where sharks were never supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a perfect storm of factors, both natural and human-induced. Remember, the understanding of shark behavior was limited back then. Scientists are still unraveling the mysteries of these complex creatures.
So what are some of the leading theories about why these attacks happened in Matawan Creek, of all places? It
Yeah.
seems so improbable.
Well, one factor that stands out is the unusually warm water temperatures that summer were. Warmer waters can attract certain species of sharks closer to shore, following their prey as they move into these areas. It's not that sharks specifically seek out humans, it's more about the overlap of their habitats and hunting grounds with ours.
So it's more about being in the wrong place at the wrong time rather than sharks being these mindless man-eaters.
Exactly. They're following their instincts driven by the need to feed. But there are other intriguing possibilities too. For example, some researchers believe that World War I might have played a role, albeit an indirect one.
World War I. How could a war across the ocean have anything to do with shark attacks in New Jersey?
It's about the disruption of the ecosystem. German U-boats were active off the Atlantic coast, and their presence, along with increased shipping traffic, may have altered fish populations and migratory patterns. This disruption could have in turn influenced the movements of sharks, potentially driving them closer to shore in search of food.
That's a fascinating connection I never would have considered. It shows how interconnected everything is, how even events happening far away can have unexpected consequences.
Absolutely. And let's not forget the human element. The polio epidemic was raging that summer, and many families understandably sought refuge at the beaches, believing fresh air and salt water might offer some relief. Tragically, this influx of people into coastal waters increased the chances of encounters with sharks.
It's a sobering reminder that sometimes our attempts to escape one danger can inadvertently expose us to another. So it seems like there was no single cause for these attacks, but rather a convergence of factors that created a perfect storm.
Precisely. It was a confluence of events, both natural and human-made, that led to this unprecedented series of attacks.
And the aftermath of these attacks must have been profound. How did the public respond to this sudden and terrifying threat?
The reaction was swift and in many ways understandable. Fear gripped the nation, and the image of the shark was forever transformed. It went from being a creature of mystery and wonder to the embodiment of terror, a mindless killing machine.
And this fear wasn't just a fleeting emotion, it had tangible consequences. Didn't tourism take a nosedive?
Absolutely. The Jersey Shore, once a bustling summer paradise, became almost deserted overnight. Businesses suffered, the local economy took a hit, and the very image of the region was tarnished. It took years for the area to recover from the stigma of the 1916 shark attacks.
It's a stark reminder of how powerful fear can be, how it can shape not just our perceptions, but also our actions and decisions.
Indeed. And this fear was further amplified by the capture of an 8-foot great white shark off the coast of New Jersey. What's remarkable about this particular shark is that it was found with human remains in its stomach.
So case closed, right? They found the culprit, the Jersey man-eater.
Well, not so fast. While this discovery certainly fueled public hysteria and seemed to confirm the existence of a single rogue shark responsible for all the attacks, there's actually a lot of skepticism surrounding this narrative.
Really? What kind of skepticism?
would-
It seems like pretty damning evidence.
For starters, some researchers have questioned whether those remains were actually human. There's also the geographical spread of the attacks to consider. 5 attacks spanning over 60 miles of coastline in just 12 days. It seems highly improbable that a single shark could cover such vast distances and be responsible for all of them.
So maybe not a Jaws scenario after all.
Well,
More like a complex puzzle with multiple pieces and we're still trying to fit them together.
Exactly. It's more likely that multiple sharks were involved, drawn closer to shore by the factors we discussed earlier. But the capture of that great white, regardless of its actual role in the attacks, played a significant role in shaping the public's perception of sharks as monstrous man-eaters.
It's fascinating how a single event can have such a lasting impact, even when the full story is much more nuanced and complex. Speaking of lasting impacts, the 1916 attacks didn't just affect the tourism industry and public perception. They also had a profound impact on the scientific community.
Absolutely. These attacks were a wake-up call, forcing scientists to confront the limitations of their understanding of sharks. It sparked new research initiatives leading to a deeper understanding of shark biology, behavior, and ecology.
It's like these tragic events, as horrifying as they were, also served as a catalyst for scientific progress, pushing us to learn more about these creatures and our place in the ecosystem.
Precisely. And that pursuit of knowledge is crucial because understanding is the key to dispelling fear and promoting coexistence.
But let's be honest, the fear of sharks is deeply ingrained in our culture. It's been fueled by movies like Jaws and countless sensationalized news stories. How do we move beyond that fear and foster a more balanced perspective?
That's the challenge, isn't it? We need to shift the narrative from one of fear and demonization to one of respect and appreciation. Sharks are essential to the health of our oceans, playing a vital role in maintaining the delicate balance of marine ecosystems.
So what can we do as individuals to contribute to that shift in perception? How do we become better stewards of these magnificent creatures and their habitat?
Well, education is key. The more we learn about sharks, the less we fear them. Supporting organizations dedicated to shark conservation is also crucial. And perhaps most importantly, we need to be mindful of our impact on the ocean, reducing pollution, avoiding harmful fishing practices, and advocating for policies that protect marine life.
It all comes back to that interconnectedness we talked about, doesn't it? What we do on land impacts the ocean, and the health of the ocean impacts us all.
Exactly. We can't afford to see ourselves as separate from nature. We are part of this intricate web of life, and the sooner we embrace that reality,
Yeah.
the better.
And the 1916 shark attacks, while a tragic chapter in history, can also be seen as a turning point.
Right.
They sparked a wave of research,
Yeah.
challenged long-held assumptions, and ultimately forced us to reconsider our place in the natural world.
It's like those attacks, as terrifying as they were,
Yeah.
opened our eyes to the power and mystery of the ocean.
Right.
We realized that we still had so much to learn about these creatures, about the forces that drive them, and about our own responsibility to protect the delicate balance of life beneath the waves.
It's a powerful lesson, and one that resonates even more strongly today.
Yeah.
As we face new challenges like climate change and overfishing.
Right.
We can't afford to repeat the mistakes of the past, to let fear and ignorance dictate our actions.
You're absolutely right. We need to approach the ocean with a sense of humility and respect,
Yeah.
recognizing that we are not the only players in this vast and intricate ecosystem.
Right.
Sharks, despite their fearsome reputation,
Yeah.
are crucial to the health of our planet.
Right.
Their decline has far-reaching consequences,
Oh, wow.
impacting everything from fish populations to coral reefs to the overall balance of the ocean.
It's a reminder that conservation is not just about protecting individual species. It's about safeguarding the entire web of life.
Right.
And it's something that we all have a role to play in,
Yeah.
whether it's making conscious choices as consumers,
Right.
supporting organizations that are doing important work, or simply spreading awareness about the importance of ocean health.
Every action, no matter how small, can make a difference.
That's true.
And if we can collectively shift our mindset from one of fear to one of respect and understanding,
Yeah.
then perhaps we can rewrite the narrative, not just about sharks,
Right.
but about our relationship with the natural world as a whole.
It's a challenge, but it's one that we must embrace for the sake of our oceans, our planet, and ultimately ourselves.
I agree.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the summer of 1916,
Yeah.
let's carry with us the lessons learned,
Okay.
the importance of scientific inquiry, the interconnectedness of all living things,
Right.
and the power of respect and empathy in shaping our relationship with the natural world.
Beautifully said. And remember, the next time you think about sharks,
Yeah.
don't just picture the menacing jaws or the sensationalized headlines.
Right?
Think about the crucial role they play in maintaining a healthy ocean,
Yeah.
the awe-inspiring beauty of these ancient creatures,
That's true.
and the need to protect them not just for their sake, but for ours as well.
Because ultimately, we're all in this together,
Yeah.
sharing this incredible planet.
Right.
And the more we understand about the creatures we share it with,
Absolutely.
the better equipped we are to ensure a thriving future for all.
I agree with
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.